Alrighty, so March 17th, happy St. Patrick's Day. If you're not wearing green, be careful, don't get pinched. March 17th, happy St. Patrick's Day, happy Wednesday. After today, well, not after today, let me fix that. Today, last day, all late work is due. So be sure and get it done today or tonight. Suffer if you need to. Be careful. Several people turned in major grade work that didn't have enough work on it. So if you got a 0 on a major grade, look at my comment. You may need to redo it, revise it, add more to it, because if I said it's a word limit of, minimum of 300 or 400, I meant it. So be sure you do all parts and turn in those major grades again if you need to. And today we will focus on irony and theme. I just love ironic stuff, right? They seem to be one way, but in reality, nope. Like the perfect wife, right? In Lamb to the Slaughter, she wasn't perfect after all, was she? She was very imperfect, but she did a great job, and Roald Dahl wrote a great story. So I've got a poem for us to read today. Focus the same irony. And then, of course, do the work now. Keep up, do what you can. And I will read and think about how the desires, anxieties, and behaviors of characters add to literary work's meaning. And then for our close, this is a non-graded discussion. It's just if you have an opinion or something insightful you want to say, be sure and tell us what you think the theme of the poem we're going to read, Richard Cory, is. And it's one of my favorites. I think y'all like it too. And today is a good day. I'm so glad you're here. Let's do our positive affirmations because I need them on a regular basis. And saying them with y'all just because I have to say them with you makes it so much easier for me to be positive. So come on, say them with me. We're all good people. Let's suffer together. What are you? I am strong, confident, and successful. Yes, we are. And how do you feel about getting work done? I love getting work done. Man, it makes me feel good when I take care of business. I know it does for y'all too. And how do you feel about schoolwork? The harder I work, the stronger I become. Amen. And a little Carvajal comedy. When your kids are too old, but they still want Easter baskets. What could this be? Kids are too old, but they still want Easter baskets. There you go. Happy Easter. Clean the bathroom. Clean up. Get to work. Darn kids. I thought that was fun. Look at the looks on their faces like, thanks, Mom. Thanks, Dad. I love that. But look how nice the parents are. They put grass. They put Easter grass in their Easter baskets. What good kids. Get to work. All right. So speaking of get to work, y'all probably don't find that as funny as I do because you aren't parents. But one of these days you will laugh so hard over this. Trust me. All right. So what are we doing today? Thank you for asking. Like I said, I am grading our essays from yesterday. If you turned them in, yay. I'm grading them today and reading them and enjoying them. If you haven't turned it in, yay, turn it in today, get it done. But if you haven't turned it in, you already have a 0 in the grade book. So be sure and take care of it as soon as you can, suffer and get it done. And that's kind of what we're going to be talking about today, because the ones that I have graded are really more focused on, in general, not all of them, but in general, they're more focused on how you feel about the story and how you feel about the character, as opposed to what the author did to make the character so great. And it is a rough draft, so if it's focused on how you feel as opposed to how the author did, you're still going to get 100 if you do the amount of writing you're supposed to do. So don't worry about that. But to revise it and to turn it in as a major grade, we do have to shift that focus. So keep that in mind. If you wrote all about how fun the character was and how much you enjoyed the story, you just want to add in, once again, what did the author do? How did the author create this? And just change that focus, add to it. And I'll be giving you comments on your stories to talk about that. Oh, but first, let me go do this, tell you that before we get to the essay help. So here we go. So in your essay, make sure you're focused on the author's choices, not directly on your connection to the story and the character, right? It's okay to talk about that, but remember your focus is how did the author's choices create believable character or the theme? So that's what you should be focusing on in your body paragraph. And some of us, we wrote the thesis the way I asked, but then we talked about, oh, the character was so fun and I really related to the character and it reminded me of a time when I was a kid and blah, 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 blah. So we want to shift that focus. So if you were focused on the conflict and everything the character had to overcome, like Mary's husband leaving her, Jerry trying to impress himself and those big kids, and all the trouble he was in, well, then you'd be focused on the plot elements. What were the plot elements that the author used that created this conflict and the danger that the characters were in? So that's what you would be talking about and giving examples of in your body paragraph. If you were focused on the character himself or the character herself and the choices that she made, a lot of people, obviously we know it's wrong. You shouldn't kill your husband if he says he's going to leave you, but you were rooting for her anyway. We all did. And that's part of the way Roald Dahl created that character that made it great. So if you focused on how she or he handled himself, well, then you're going to focus on the characterization elements, like the details given, the backstory, the voice, and then the choices that the character made. You can talk about that directly in there. It made the character seem realistic and believable. And of course, that's the choices that the author made. If you focused on your emotional connection with the character's situation and how he or she handled it, well, then probably that big emotional connection comes from the author's craft, right? That allow you to connect with the story because of the figurative language, the diction, word connotation, the imagery, and of course, this played very big in Through the Tunnel, especially, right? Because it was so full of imagery and figurative language. It's beautifully written. But it doesn't come across like she's trying too hard. Doris Lessing did a fantastic job of taking us underwater with Jerry. And of course, Roald Dahl is an amazing writer as well, and so is Ray Bradbury. So these are the kind of things you want to be sure that you mention in your opening paragraph, in your introduction, and then these are what you should be focusing on your body paragraph if you didn't already. Remember, you should have quotes in your body paragraphs. So I gave access directly so you don't have to go digging through past folders. Veldt Part 1 and 2, Lamb to the Slaughter Part 1 and 2, Through the Tunnel Part 1 and 2. And if you already went and found it on your own, bravo to you. But here they are here in case you want to continue to add. Now, if you already turned it in, you can't work on it today. I'm still grading it, but I will have them graded today so you can work on them tomorrow and Friday and get it done Friday and woohoo, finish the end of the 9 weeks strong. So if you haven't got it turned in, well, now's your chance to get caught up. So that's available to you. If you have any questions about this, be sure and message me. Okay, so now our work for today. Richard Cory by Edwin Arlington Robinson. This was written in the 1950s, I believe, and very well-known poem. And like I said, it's one of my favorites. If you had me last year, you've already read it, but if you don't have me last year, you probably haven't. So let's read this poem and think about, once again, the theme of the poem. Richard Cory by Edwin Arlington Robinson. Whenever Richard Cory went downtown, we people on the pavement looked at him. He was a gentleman from sole to crown, clean-favored and imperially slim. And he was always quietly arrayed, and he was always human when he talked. But still he fluttered pulses when he said good morning, and glittered when he walked. And he was rich, yes, richer than a king, and admirably schooled in every grace. In fine, we thought that he was everything, to make us wish that we were in his place. So on we worked, and waited for the light, and went without meat, and cursed the bread. And Richard Cory, one calm summer night, went home and put a bullet through his head. Boom! Did y'all expect that ending? I don't have to explain how that's ironic, do I? No, of course not. But you think of how Edward Arlington Robinson created this poem and built this image of this man who, talk about the man who has everything, right? And then, let's read it one more time. This is an amazing poem. And when it was written, I mean, even today, right? It's pretty shocking to jump to that ending. But when it was written back in the day, people read this just like awestruck. Read it one more time. Richard Cory by Edwin Arlington Robinson. Whenever Richard Cory went downtown, we people on the pavement looked at him. He was a gentleman from sole to crown, clean-favored and imperially slim. And he was always quietly arrayed, and he was always human when he talked. But still he fluttered pulses when he said, "Good morning," and he glittered when he walked. And yes, he was rich, richer than a king, and admirably schooled in every grace. In fine, we thought that he was everything, to make us wish that we were in his place. So on we worked, and waited for the light, and went without meat, and cursed the bread. And Richard Cory, one calm summer night, went home and put a bullet through his head. Quite a poem. So think about the irony of this, and tell me, what do you think? What is the theme of Richard Cory? Give us some insight into this poem, and we'll look at it here towards the end of class. And other than that, let's get to work and get caught up on anything we need to get caught up on. If you've done your application for late work, jump to those major grades, right? Don't worry about doing this right now. Don't worry about today's work. Do the major grades. Do research 1 and 2 and the project script and the podcast. And if you're not passing right now, right, those were sent to you, links in the email last Sunday, right? So that's what we got going on right now. I'm going to be playing some smooth jazz in the background. If you have any questions, let me know. And remember, you are strong, confident, and successful, and I know you're going to do great.